friends, and welcome once again to the Creation Soapbox, brought to you by your friends here at abitoforange.com. Today, biblical creation fact number 5, all of the sciences support the biblical account of creation and the flood. Now, if you've gone through public school and have learned science the way that most of us have through public school and evolutionary-minded textbooks, this statement will sound absolutely kooky dukes, as if I'm claiming that the world is a turtle on top of an elephant floating in a vat of jello. But stick with me. And if you're not familiar with this stuff, then I implore you, go to the links below. I will provide links to more information on all of these things, because what I'm about to tell you is true. It has taken me many years to discover all of this myself, because like you, I was raised in the public school. I watched Carl Sagan's Cosmos as a kid and went, oh, look at that. Universe burst into being 13.7 billion years ago. But I've discovered that the Bible is true from the very first page, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. So, we're going to take a very brief overview of some of the relevant sciences, and you will see that all of the sciences support the biblical account of creation and the flood. Here we go. Other sciences that support the biblical account. Astronomy. So you've been told that the universe popped into existence 13.7 billion years ago, depending on who you ask. The problem with the Big Bang model is that it fails to explain itself. Why did it go bang? What banged? What caused it? There's no explanation for that at all. Also, the Big Bang model cannot explain the formation of stars, and therefore of galaxies, or of planets. So the Big Bang model fails to explain the universe and everything in it. Not just because, while I'm a creationist, I reject their conclusions. I mean, the model as it has been taught for decades has no explanation for how it would actually account for stars, galaxies, and planets. It cannot do so. There's actually a series of reasons within science that say stars can't form like that, galaxies can't form like that, planets will never form like that. Science goes against the Big Bang model and therefore shows that we needed a creator. And our solar system, the study of our local neighborhood, shows that our sun, planets, even comets show recent creation. Physics. The study of physics. For instance, the second law of thermodynamics shows that the evolutionary story is impossible. Fine-tuning of the universe shows intelligent design of even empty space. The study of the laws that govern time, space, matter, and energy show brilliant design at every level and unfathomable fine-tuning, proving that the cause of the universe and all of the complexities therein must be a mind vastly superior to our own in every way. Information science. DNA, which is in every living cell on Earth, is a language, and language only comes from a mind. This is just common sense. You find a single written word, let alone a single written sentence, let alone millions of pages of information, you know there had to be a mind behind that information. Well, the study of life on Earth, the study of the DNA that codes for all living things, proves that these are the fingerprints of God, over and over and over. Biology. Brilliant design and interdependence, not just in the information in the DNA, but the way that the machines of the cell are built, and the complexity of them, and the fact that multiple parts all have to be existing and working and functioning together at the same time, show brilliant intelligent design. The information in the DNA, but also the machines in the cells. Life only comes from life. This is one of the established facts of science, but this gives you a chicken and egg issue at every level. If living cells only come from living cells, then there couldn't have been a first cell without an intelligent living creator to bring it into being. Not saying that God is made of cells himself, but in order to create something as complex as even the simplest living cell, you have to have intelligent guidance. There is irreducible complexity in every living thing. There are multiple components that have to all be present and functioning together in order for the simplest cell to work. And orphan genes make every kind unique. Not only does every kind of animal have genetic information, but every kind has information unique to that kind. Once again, showing that there is not a slow, gradual progression of information into different information of kinds into different kinds. Each kind was created unique. Paleontology. Study of fossils. Well, fossils are not found in the evolutionary sequence, and I know your textbooks will tell you the fossils show slow, gradual progression from simple to more complex, and it shows the evolutionary sequence, but it's not true. Just as one example, this picture is one of many of dinosaur and human footprints found together. According to the evolutionary theory, there should be 68 million years between those two footprints, but here they are in the same puddle of mud. Dinosaur soft tissue and many other fossils show evolutionary sequence and the time frame to be false. We have been told the dinosaurs died out 68 million years ago, but we keep finding soft tissues in a variety of different species of dinosaur. Well, there's no chemical way that that soft tissue can exist for more than a few tens of thousands of years, even under the best conditions, which means there's no chemical way they're as old as we are being told. The time frame has to be false. And here's the biggest problem with the evolutionary interpretation of the fossil record: no transitional forms have ever been found. Lots have been proposed, almost all have been discarded by the paleontologists themselves, but no actual transitional forms, no unambiguous actual missing links have ever been found. The fossils show the creationist orchard. Bats are bats. If you find bats in the fossil record, they are fully formed, capable of flying. They are not some kind of awkward winged mouse that can glide a little bit. Bats are bats, turtles are turtles. All the created kinds are represented in the fossils as the created kind, just as we see them today. And the best defense of this position is actually from paleontologist evolutionists who are defending the evolutionary theory. Here is David Ropp, the professor of geology at University of Chicago, and at one time one of the curators at the Field Museum in Chicago. And he has said this: a large number of well-trained scientists outside of evolutionary biology and paleontology have unfortunately gotten the idea that the fossil record is far more Darwinian than it is. This probably comes from the oversimplification inevitable in secondary sources, low-level textbooks, semi-popular articles, and so on. Also, there is probably some wishful thinking involved. In the years after Darwin, his advocates hoped to find predictable progressions. In general, these have not been found, yet the optimism has died hard and some pure fantasy has crept into textbooks. And this professor of geology, this believer in evolution, acknowledges that when the textbooks tell you that the fossils support evolution, that's pure fantasy. Here is another evolutionist who is discarding the fossil record as evidence for evolution, because creationists will come out and say, well, look, the fossil record does not support evolution. Well, here's Mark Ridley, zoologist from Oxford University, and he says, if the creationists want to impress the Darwinian establishment, it will be no use prating on about what the fossils say. No good Darwinian's belief in evolution stands on the fossil evidence for gradual evolution, so nor will his belief fall by it. So why does your textbook tell you that you can build your faith in evolution on the fossil record? The evolutionists who actually study these things tell you that you can't and you shouldn't. Here is Niles Eldridge, chairman and curator of invertebrates at the American Museum of Natural History, and he says this: we have proffered a collective tacit acceptance of the story of gradual adaptive change, evolution. We paleontologists have said that the history of life supports that interpretation, all the while really knowing that it does not. What Niles is saying here is, we have pretended that the fossils show evolution, but we know that it does not. But even more so, once you take the evolutionary tree of life and you remove the imagined transitions, and you just use the fossils as we find them, you no longer have a tree of life. You now have bats, and then you have mice, and then you have birds, and then you have crocodiles. You don't have anything evolving into anything else. You have the creationist orchard. You have the created kinds diversifying into varieties of that kind. Geology also does not support evolution the way that you've been taught. Observations show us that many rock layers can form quickly. You will be taught in geology textbooks that a rock layer, a paper-thin rock layer, can take a century or 1,000 years to form. But we can show, through observation, we have seen many, many hundreds or thousands of rock layers forming quickly, like within a single day. Canyons that you're told erode away gradually over millions of years, we have seen form within a single day. Deep time methods and assumptions are demonstrably false. Rock layers are big, continental in size. So the story your textbook tries to paint that, well, the different rock layers are the result of the gradual depositing of sediment in the spring when the rains come and the streams and rivers overflood their banks, they leave a little bit of sediment, and over thousands and thousands and thousands of years those build up. We have rock layers that stretch from one end of a continent to the other. They could not have been deposited that way. Polystrate fossils, so fossils that are not found in a rock layer but stand up through multiple rock layers, show that the rock layers had to be laid down quickly at the same time. Well, I hope you enjoyed this Bit of Orange. If you want more, check us out at abitoforange.com. As always, thanks for watching, and remember, Jesus loves you.